Frederick now. You had just thrown perception checks, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Did we? Yes.
After a couple of minutes, you can be most assured. Nobody's coming out. If anybody is in there, they're trapped, already dead.
Right. We want to go through looking, or we want to try to bring them out.
I mean,
We can walk around the building, yell if anyone's in there. Or we could sit here in the parking lot and lay on the horn for a little bit. That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, because I really don't feel like running into a burning building when I don't know if there's anybody that I can actually get out. As much as I would hurt to know that some good folk didn't make it out, I don't want to add one more body to that list.
Are there any other cars around parked near buildings that would give me a suspicion that perhaps they were the ones that were inhabited by people in the middle of the night?
The way the parking lot works is it's only in front of two buildings, technically. There are a few other cars parked, but you don't know if maybe employees maybe carpooled someplace together and left their car there. Don't entirely know.
All right, well, Robert, lay on the horn for a few minutes. Just beep 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 beep. Just see if anybody comes to a window.
Like Morse code. You want to give them a message? I don't know Morse code. I doubt you know Morse code either. Well, You got any fancy encrypted information like radio transmissions? Do that with your horn.
I got
I don't know how that works, sir.
I got a ham radio.
Yeah. Plug that into the horn, right? Actually, don't do that. That don't work.
That won't work.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Few minutes minutes of laying on the horn. Still nothing.
Still nothing.
Alright. I'm gonna give it a walk around. At least see if I hear anything. See if I can't see anything. Not gonna get too close, but
Roll investigation plus and
I don't like this dice pull. I'm gonna willpower it.
as you go around, you start seeing windows and doors are boarded from the outside. Very clearly, this was 100% planned. As you make your way around the buildings, once again, not getting too close, you can see that virtually every window is boarded and every door is. As you get around to the parking lot, the boxes that were seen from the street, you notice there's a lot of them. Quick cursory glance shows that they are essentially containers that held bottles. Looking at the number of boxes, At one point, there were probably about 100 to 150 bottles.
They're all gone?
Yes. Quick whiff. You want to take a smell of it?
I mean, look, I see a case of bottles. Like, I mean, we gotta take a whiff, right? I mean, they're empty, so I'm disappointed, but, like...
Vodka.
Well, I doubt they were having a party in the parking lot, so... Alright, I'll go back to the truck and relay, you know, the whole place boarded up. This wasn't an arson, this was... I mean, it was arson, but... They didn't just roll up and chuck some fire at the place. People inside were probably put there to die, so... If they're already dead. I don't know. I didn't hear anything, though. Crack open a window or two if you want, but...
It seems a bit warm to crack open a window. Kind of weird to say that, but... well, that's just not good. Means it wasn't just some random hoodlums. They knew what they was doing. They wasn't just, you know... Yeah, they knew what they was doing. This was specifically targeted at these folk here. What that feller said on the road, they may not be good folk, but folk nonetheless. I don't know them, I can't judge them. Well, I don't think there's really much more we can do here. I ain't got a fire hose, and it'd take too long to go back and forth from the river with buckets. I just, I hope this just don't spread, you know, out to the forest and out to the, you know, where people's or homes are, where they're living. I can't do nothing for them right now, aside from, I suppose I don't need to warn them. They should be seeing this right now, so they know to get out.
They know, but it don't mean they're gonna do it.
That's fair enough. We could drive around some residential areas, honk the horn, tell folk to, you know, start getting ready to move out, or we can go back and meet up with the rest of the group and see how they fared on their end.
It would take way too dangerous to go through every building here. These ones are still quite burning. I don't hear anything. No one replied to that horn.
How close is the forest to the buildings? Or is there a forest?
There's roughly there's a road in between the buildings and the forest in most locations. You would know the back area actually opens up into looks to be a baseball diamond as well.
Okay, well that's not gonna burn. I mean, so does it look like it's got a high chance of spreading past this complex?
A fire would have to jump across the road, which, I mean, is not impossible, but it is somewhat unlikely.
Okay. Not that he can do anything about it, but...
I suppose you can clear some trees, cut back the brush a little bit. Of course, that'll also take just as long as going through the buildings.
Yeah, I don't want to go through the buildings. That's too hot for me. Whoever might have still been inside is no longer with us, I would assume. I mean, judging from how far this fire's been spreaded, folk can't, live for very long in a burdened building. A few minutes at best.
How long? I don't even know if I know, but how long do you think these buildings have got before they're like burnt?
Rumbled.
At
Like,
this
is
point,
just sitting here waiting to pull corpses out a feasible plan?
it's feasible for the buildings across the way. Though that area was very clearly hit first and is getting close to the end of the fire's life.
Starting to think they hit over there first, right? You think they hit over there first because that's where the people were, and then they just burnt this side to look more uniform? I don't think we haven't even been over there, have we?
No.
No, we basically just circled the least burned, because I had the highest chance of having people get out. I mean, if you want to sift through what ashes you can, I don't know what you hope to find. We kind of know what happened here already. Ain't difficult to make a Molotov.
No. I'd just rather not leave a corpse laying in a burned building, Kind of indecent.
Fair enough. We can go check it out.
Just gonna hoof it over there, or are you gonna drive it over there?
I'll drive it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's more than a couple minutes,
I mean, I'd rather have the truck be as near as possible in case, need to make a quick getaway for whatever reason. Don't want to have to run across the parking lot.
Sending a zoomed in map of the area. So the three buildings that you see there are the ones that are more burnt out. Just players are aware.
Noted.
Wait, what am I looking at?
The three buildings on the left.
No, I mean, where...
Discord.
Oh.
Discord.
There it is.
As you bring the car into the parking lot of these three buildings, it is somewhat darker here. The flames aren't nearly as lively. Most of what stands is the skeletal remains of these buildings. You don't know how much structural integrity they have at this time. But it is more or less a burned out husk at this point. Also in this parking lot, you would notice more crates that you recognize. But you also do see several canisters of gasoline. So certainly more accelerant was used, probably at this location.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go take a stroll around the buildings, maybe poke in a window or two, see if I can't see anything. Hear anything,
These folks don't seem to care about leaving much evidence behind, do they?
Why would they? They shut the whole county down. They don't have to care about getting caught.
I mean, if that's true, they got connections pretty high up the tree.
Shrug it, go to do what I wanted to do here, so we're not sitting here all night.
Yeah.
Give me, it's still investigation plus intel.
We're doubling down. I've already wasted time here. I didn't even need it again. Okay.
Another 260. You do find a couple of bodies as you are able to kind of tread through the area carefully. But the only thing that really remains is a skeleton. Flesh is just gone.
Nothing to ID then. Well. I don't know. I mean, pulling them out would be, a nice thing to do, but that also, I guess, contaminate the scene. But not that anyone's going to come here and investigate police-wise, so...
At least not do a lot of investigating if they're in on it.
Yeah. These bodies, are they, just kind of throughout the building? Where they looked like they were trying to get out? Or were they,
They were all at the front door.
You see. Yep, got ourselves a massacre on our hands, but I don't see a culprit. At least the culprit was that guy that drove past us.
I don't see one feller doing all this. That's a lot of bottles, that's a lot of gas, that's a lot of windows boarded up.
Suppose, yeah. But
I wouldn't put it past him to be involved somehow, seeing as he was, there on the road trying to stop people from coming up here.
fires were just started, those are all burning still. You'd have to have a small little army to torch all those buildings at the same time. Where the hell they'd go? How'd they sneak past us? They must have gone through the woods. On foot.
There any tracks in the dirt somewhere?
That roll.
Hey, that's gonna be survival and wits or intelligence. Would that hunting specialization or tracking, would that?
Yes.
Sure. That's +1. What? No successes. On 6 dice, nothing. That must have cleared it or something. I can't find nothing nowhere.
Well, I suppose we're out of leads. Still plenty other places that burned down tonight.
That's a lot of places to go to if you want to see all of them.
I doubt many things are going to change between tonight and tomorrow morning anyways, so...
Yeah, I mean, it takes...
Same things, bunch of burnt-out husks.
Yeah, it takes so long to get to each one. They'd all be like this one, and just nothing to see. Ash and bones. Alright, well, I say we go rendezvous with the rest of our folk. Keep us all abreast of the situation. Unless you got plans.
Nothing important.
Nothing more important than this. Alright, yeah, we can head back to the church.
Another day, another failure.
As both of you begin to make your the road to head back down. Oh, but notice trees. Roughly about 20 to 30. Rough count. Reddish orange dots are seen within the forest. They seem to flit and move about amongst the trees. And we're gonna move back to Sasha, Edward. Bear takes a deep feigned breath, as it were. So.
About you, Sasha. Go then.
I think that's the best deal we're going to get. Honestly, this is something to where, if we're to believe Richter, if we're to believe Mary, he didn't have to say anything. So, let's respect what he's actually done to try and help out the people of the city. And I'm going to say that she looks straight at Richter. She says this. I'm not going to say you don't deserve to die. But there are others who deserve to die before you.
That's the terms you got tonight. Then you live out your little dream of finding your little place in the world and spending time with your plants.
Earthly heaven. However, make sure that stampede hits everything. Because, as I told you, this isn't gonna stop. It's gonna get worse. Now, I do want to bring one outstanding... two outstanding matters. One, advise you on. Well, it's the establishment and the rebel rousers that are causing most of the trouble right now. I need to push the severity of the situation again. There is a third group I've mentioned. I just called them terrorists. They have made a very complicated ally. I don't know how they made this ally. But this ally is not one of us. It's something... If we... Going back to the animal analogy. If we are akin to lions and tigers, then this thing is akin to a saber-toothed cat. Much older and much... I don't want to say it's the big fish in the pond, but it is... It's different enough that it's something completely foreign to us. You need to hit them as well. I don't know if you've noticed, owl sightings have gone up in the city. Which I realize is a ridiculous segue.
can't say I have, but
Dowels are not
yeah.
natural. Dowels are something my kind... We refer to them in mythology, as it were. Shakes his head. I don't know if there's anything you can actually do against them. But should you find a way to do something against them, give it to your allies. And hit them just as hard as hit this city.
Anything else you can give us? Names, people.
I can give a few names. However, I don't know everybody in the city. However, as for anything else I can give you, that was actually going to be my next question. I owe you. And I truly do mean I owe you. Is there anything that is within my power at this moment in time that I can grant you? Names, don't even worry, that's already on the list. Because even though you have done me a great service, I'm actually asking you to do something else. And I am sorry for my arrogance in asking you for another favor.
Well, we've got our terms on that deal, right? Where I see it, you give us weaknesses, vulnerabilities, points of weakened attack.
Sunlight, fire.
What about wherever you're calling home?
That is something our kind obvious reasons. We are only nocturnal. Well,
You want us to drive a bulldozer through it? We need to know where it is. Just saying.
the ones that I would be more likely to call ally are decentralized. I'm not going to be able to give you too much. The establishment, however, I would assume that they probably have detailed maps of where each one takes a whiz, if they still took whizzes. So, as much as I would love to... Stops and he goes, you know how it's disgusting the way I was speaking about people? Realize that this is also a little disgusting the way I'm talking about my kind as well.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Very, very true. So is most things. But also, like most things in this world, things have to be done. So, maybe play along with the deal that you made and get an inside look and see if you can't discover where maybe they're keeping documents. That might be your best option. Because the same reason I'm struggling to tell you where my quote-unquote allies exist. Also, that would be a weakness that exists on the other side of the fence. I had to guess. That paperwork they took, probably employee records. Employee records. Volunteer records. That would have addresses. I'm pretty sure they're combing him. If I had to make an educated guess.
It seems reasonable enough to me.
Looks over at Edward.
Sorry, I missed the last little bit.
Basically stating that he assumes that the paperwork they stole are employee and volunteer records.
Oh, right, yeah.
He would assume that they're looking for addresses as well.
With the looking, and I'm guessing clock's ticking. Would you say it would make more sense to go in daylight, but I don't think tomorrow morning is an option, is it? I'm guessing you already knew that.
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
With them looking for addresses.
With them looking for addresses, they're probably, if they've
They're
already
there.
they're combing through them. That they'll probably attempt to move tomorrow night.
We got 24 hours to find everything. Burn the rat's nest out, so to speak.
At this point, he pauses for a moment. He's like, do you have a sheet of paper or thing?
Go and look. I'm sure Padre's got something around up in his office. Yes.
Actually, we're in a church, so they have little pencils and they have hymnals, and Sasha's just gonna kind of shrug and tear out one of the first pages of a hymnal, which is typically pretty blank.
He writes down an address, a second address, and then writes down about 4 addresses. This is my address, as well as my research assistant addresses. Do with that information as you need. I will not be tonight or tomorrow.
Well, no, that was the agreement.
So with those addresses stated, feel free to do what you think you need to. Maybe use it as a trap, I don't know. That is your decision. But I feel we have reached the peak of the night. And I have roughly about 6 hours. And I would like to put as much road self Charleston.
Good luck to you.
Keep that number on your phone. Edward, right? That's the number that came up on my caller ID.
That'll be the one. Yep.
Feel free to keep the number on the phone. I still owe you. I make good on my debts.
And, Richter, for the record, you put a lion and an angry bull in a field together. I fancy the angry bull.
He smirks. Then they're going to something. And it's at this point he produces a very large knife from his coat. And he then proceeds to slice his arm. And as they walk away, you see her holding out his arm, licking down the length of the wound. And as she starts to get a certain distance away, no longer limping, the church doors swing. Hear the engine of a motorcycle rev, and then fade off into the distance.
We need to call the others. They have no idea how much the situation has changed.
You want to call him, or shall I?
You call him. I think I need to speak to Bishop and see if we can't get a head start on bring the fury of the church here.
Yeah, alright, I'll call him. Could use the air anyways. Feeling pretty close in here.
Who you calling, Robert or Frederick?
Probably Robert. First.
I mean, they left together.
Yeah.
So then Robert's phone will ring, yeah. He'll answer it. Yellow.
Hey. Excuse me, hear your voice, kiddo. You're okay out there, right?
Yeah, a bit smoky, but otherwise I'm fine. I mean, we tried to do what we could. We went to the furthest fire, but there was really nothing we could do. We ain't firefighters. We ain't got the equipment. All we could do was, watch and see the ash. That's about it. Met this feller out there on the road, though. Didn't want us to go up there for some reason. Had like bandages or something. I don't know. He let us by, but he told us, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, I think we met the same fella.
So anyway, we're heading.
Else.
Yeah, good.
Someone else as well.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gotten a mite bit complicated, hadn't it?
Yeah, well, sending it back to you made my head hurt, so I don't know how you followed it.
I'm still, ruminating on that. It'll settle probably by the time I get back to the church. We head back right now. We figured there's nothing really else we can do here with those fires. As much as we'd like to, we just ain't equipped for it.
You see anyone out there? Hold up.
Aside from the one feller on the road, you know what? We did see a few lights in the forest, but it was too narrow for me to get my truck through there, so there's really not much we can do, and they flitted off.
Probably nothing. What about people?
Couldn't get to the ones we found in time. They's just on an ash. You know,
Yeah,
we called 911. They hung up on us. I figure this is going pretty high up the food chain, I think.
Same thing happened to us. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you at the church and light a candle for those who, didn't make it.
Yeah, a lot of few.
And you can't save everyone.
I can try.
See you
in a bit.
See you in a bit.
As you pull up to the church,
So, we got some night folk needs taken care of.
So it would seem.
Sasha, would you have rejoined Edward at this point, or still discussing with Bishop?
Yeah. I assume I just gave him a quick loop in to try and say, okay, we need to call in the big guns. But then going back because I already saw that one of these vampires compromised Edward earlier in the day, so I kind of want to make sure that I'm there also to back up the story. Not that he's untrustworthy, but,
All right, so we call in the cavalry then?
Looks like it.
All right. You said, or he said, fire and sunlight, right? I mean, we can only get one of those things at night. And without knowing where they are in the day, that's not really going to help us.
Well, I mean, we still got a lead with them, the ATM machine. Well,
yeah. And we still got one of them thinking that we're going to go out and kill who they want us to kill. Which is true. We're just going to have to kill them too.
Sorry, who do they want you to kill? And who's they? I missed that part of the story.
oh. So
yeah, recap. So last session, we met evidently an Invictus Kindred with another group had started another blaze. That's where and that's the blaze that we rescued Mary from. So it's very kind of prim and proper woman who had a sort of scraggly outfit, who evidently the one stealing the documents, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I don't recall her name, but I know that she gave us her number. And basically,
Juliet.
it'd be on the card.
Juliet. Yes. My notes were all there.
She was convinced that if we just killed off the vampires that they were wanting to have killed, that all the problems would go away. Again, it sounds like they're fighting over a dwindling supply of blood, and they've decided to do away with each other. So Juliet is willing to give us assistance to kill off some of the vampires, but she will definitely not be receptive to helping us kill off her faction of vampires.
the advice from Richter is to burn it down and salt the earth.
Well, that appears to be what they's trying to do themselves. Although they's doing, kind of a scorched earth approach, whereas I would much rather prefer leave the earth as is and just scorch the ones that need it.
Exactly that. It's never the people that, it goes back, what an old colonel told me once. He said, in war, there's no victors. No matter where you are, it's always true.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Hunter the Vigil, Critical Measures, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion Anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcomed. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, why must those who hunt monsters hunt themselves?